Hello everyone and welcome to Weekend Reflections with Tsungi. Lovely to have you as always with us. I do hope you're enjoying the festive season and that you're getting time to spend with family and that you're also getting time to rest. Now today's episode is going to be very exciting. You don't want to miss it. I have a lady with me that I've wanted to sit down with for quite a while and chat with. So just make sure you watch till the end and I am sure you'll be uplifted. Welcome to the show, Tsitsi.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, actually.
Oh, it's an honor to have you. So lovely that you could make the time.
Thank you.
Please, can you introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about yourself so that we know where you're coming from?
Okay. So my name is Tsitsi Madoda. I am a wife. I'm married to Mike Madoda, a sportscaster, and we have 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls. In my day-to-day, I manage a production company called C Media Africa. So I am in the TV film space. I'm also an independent filmmaker. I'm a film producer. But yeah, I've done everything, I guess, on that side related, commercials, TV, film. And then I also am in the aviation space. So I more in the drone space.
Oh, wow.
So drone technology, AI. So we actually work a lot with children as well as in the humanitarian space and in the training space. So that's something that started just before COVID for me, but I've really enjoyed it. I also am part of Women in Aviation Zimbabwe.
Oh, nice.
So I think in a nutshell, that's probably...
Wow. Thanks, Tsitsi. Wonderful. Thank you. Now, I know that your whole life is a testimony.
Yes.
So we can't wait to hear your story and you to highlight whichever parts you'd like to highlight.
Okay. Wow. I guess... I was actually thinking about this and I was thinking if I would sum up my life, I'd actually just, I would sum it up just the grace of God, to be honest. It's literally the grace of God. There's a scripture I was meditating on. I think it's in Corinthians and it says, by the grace of God, I am what I am. And honestly, it really is. And I feel like at each stage, God continues to actually just remind me of that grace. I would say maybe what I can remember, when I was about 6, I just started grade 1. When I was about 6, I got very ill. And I was in hospital for the longest. And the funny thing about me being in hospital was I had tubes all over my body. I had all these things and I couldn't eat the whole time I was there.
Oh.
And I'd see the children around me being taken to a play place, being taken for food, getting like desserts on their bedsides, but I couldn't understand what it was. But what I do remember is a lot of people coming to pray with my mom, strengthen my mom. I think at the time my parents were young Christians.
Okay.
And I had fallen ill, and what I guess we know now is that I had leukemia. And I won't cry. I've got makeup, which is not very usual.
Well, you look nice. You look lovely, by the way. Yeah, it's okay to cry if you want to.
I'll try not to. But yeah, I had leukemia, what actually happened in that season is they were preparing me for surgery, so I had to get some tests done and that kind of stuff. And for some reason, I think the doctor who was meant to do something or prepare me couldn't make it because he had another emergency. And the church that I attend had this thing called hospital ministry.
Okay.
And this lady, her name is Mary Jane Schultz. She was part of the hospital ministry. And what they would do is they would go to different wards on different days. And on that particular day, the day that the doctor had an emergency and couldn't make it, she was actually not coming to the ward that I was in. I think they were going to maternity ward or something. And she just felt an unction when she walked in to walk into the children's ward.
Oh.
And on the first bed, there were visitors with the child that was there, and then she walked towards the bed that I was on. And she saw me, she saw my mom, and I think she asked my mom if my mom believed that I would be healed. And my mom obviously said yes, because it was if you understand when people are unwell, especially if your child is unwell, you're almost helpless.
Yeah.
So she asked my mom if my mom believed that I could be healed. And my mom said yes. And of course, you've gone through so much prayer.
Yeah.
You keep getting tests. The white blood cells are not going down. They're actually multiplying so much each day that the operation, they kept saying we need to do something as soon as possible. Otherwise you're going to lose your child. So my mom was desperate, but also there had been so much prayer that had come through. And then you have this lady who seemingly, I mean, if you've ever met Mary Jane, she's very soft-spoken. She's seemingly just an ordinary woman. And so my mom says Mary Jane did like the simplest, shortest prayer. Oh. She was in, she was out, she was done. She actually left in a rush because she was late to the other ladies that she was praying with. But when they then came to do tests to prepare me for surgery, they realized that those blood cells had already started going down. I had been in hospital for a few months. I was not going to school. And within 3 days, I was out of hospital.
Wow. And that's a miracle. That's a miracle. Wow. God for you.
This is me today. And that is God. That is God. And I think what it's taught me is never to underestimate, just that little unction that the Holy Spirit gives you, even if it's, we talk about instant obedience, but even if it's something that's, that's kind of like takes you away from what your mission is or what you're doing. Yeah. I think it's also just showed me that, we shouldn't underestimate, the little things, or people who you don't have to be on a pulpit to get healed. You don't have to be this great, mighty person. You just have to be in obedience. If she hadn't answered the call to be part of the hospital ministry. And even just to follow the unction of God, to walk into the ward that she wasn't supposed to be in at that time. I don't know if we would be sitting here today. So, I guess.
Did she get to know?
Yes, she does know. She does know. Wow. I absolutely love that lady.
Oh my goodness. And so obviously Lynn didn't have the operation.
Did not have the operation. I was out of hospital in 3 days. They did do a few tests after that for a few months. And no, I was actually incredible. Miraculously healed.
Wow.
Completely.
And especially coming from a doctor, because that saying where they say, doctors say we treat, but God heals. It shows you the limitation of medicine.
That's true.
It's
very,
incredible.
Very true. And I mean, they didn't believe it. They wouldn't, obviously, medically, you can't necessarily say, this child got healed. So they were trying to figure out what it
what
was.
happens, and they didn't.
From a medical
I'm sure they didn't figure out.
standpoint. But I think even in that season, I think it actually strengthened my mom's resolve, even just her relationship with God, with Christ. I guess we are who we are even as a family because of situations like that happened when we were growing up. So
Wow, that's an amazing testimony. So God does heal.
God does heal. God does do a lot of things, and I think just in my journey, I've grown up in the church.
Yeah, that's wonderful actually. That himself is a testimony.
I've grown up in the church, and I think at a certain point, I remember I was very much involved in the youth, in serving. That was just my life. I didn't know anything else. And then I go to university. I'm in a different country. It's very different. It is lonely. And I think it got me to reassess. I started thinking, okay, I'm out. I can do what I want. I tried. It was crazy.
Which country did you go to?
I was in Botswana. I was studying in
Okay,
Botswana. And I remember being like just feeling such a void and actually trying to figure out why. And I remember it was actually quite, I mean, I had always had my church friends, my mom, my siblings. There was always, you know, we would have Sal in our house. We were in church probably any free time that we had. And I remember being at a point where I was actually alone. I didn't like the partying and that kind of stuff, but I was not the same way that I was or that I thought I was when I was in youth and when I was in back home here. And I think there's something, I call it now I call it Christian by association.
Oh, okay. Christian by association. I like that.
Because I think at a point where you're so used to being surrounded by the cloud of witnesses and having people around you or people who can you can be accountable to. And then when you're now in a place where all of that is not there, is that relationship with God still solid?
There. Something to think about, definitely.
Something to think about. And I think it was in that season that I actually started reflecting on my life, and then I started realizing how much grace has been on my life and how I can actually build a relationship with God by myself without, you know, the perks, the bells, the whistles, the people. And
the backup.
It really catapulted my journey with God on a personal level in that season. And it was a hard season for me, but I think it just got me to a place where I realized that, you know, God is there and He is gracious and He is faithful and He is merciful.
Amen.
And the Christian by association is okay. We need the partnerships, but we also need that relationship.
Your own relationship.
We also need your own relationship with God. And I think it was in that season that I realized actually I got healed. And I started phoning my mother and asking her what actually happened.
Oh, you were having like flashbacks?
I was having, not really flashbacks.
You were told that's what happened.
She would tell me, but I think I was in a bubble.
Okay.
You know, she'd talk about it, but as a child, I guess.
You remembered some parts of it? Not really?
I remembered being in hospital, being upset about not being able to. But not
the detail, maybe.
Yeah, but not the detail. I actually never asked about the detail until I was in that season. And I think that's when I started questioning, you know, myself, questioning God, like, okay, why did you save my life? Why am I here? Why am I here? And that's actually been such a daily walk for me.
Oh, wow. That's so powerful.
It really has been a daily walk for me. And yeah, I think in my life...
and how did you... I just want to go back a bit. You said that you started discovering the Lord for yourself. This is when you were in Botswana, when you were at university. So what did you do? Did you like make sure you went to found a church and started reading the Bible? What helped you? What kind of things helped you to discover that relationship and really know God for yourself?
So I think I would say it was more of I had always been in the Word.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
But I think it was partly ticking a box.
Okay, it's okay. Done that.
Done that. Your mom's going to ask. She'll ask what you heard from church. So you've got all these notebooks. But that personal conviction was not really there.
Okay.
So I started, honestly, in that season, I struggled to read the Word.
Okay.
But I started just slowly. I joined a different church. We didn't have our
at that time.
Church at that time. Yeah. I joined a different church, and it was very, 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 very different. But they were literally like, their teaching was grassroots.
Okay.
So I almost just opened my heart to discovering the Lord in a different way. Not being in a place where I was like, I know it all, because I realized that I didn't know it all. And I was in a place where, you know, the peer pressure, the lifestyle is so extremely on the other side that you have to fight to stand. So I literally had to start. I felt like I had to start again. I had to start again. So I started reading my Bible. I started actually trying to find, at least what I would do is I'd look for a scripture for that week and just meditate on it.
Like something to hold on to.
Something to hold on to. And initially I used to be anxious. Like I'd be looking for a scripture that speaks to what I'm going through in that season.
Something very specific.
Something specific.
And it's not always like that. Yeah.
We didn't have AI back then.
Yeah.
But
ask Chat GPT.
No, there was no Chat GPT to ask, okay, I'm going through stress. What's the scripture?
And it will tell you.
And it will tell you. Does help sometimes.
Yeah.
But I realized that God has a word for you in every season. And
it's powerful.
I actually started meeting people, started building relationships. By the time I left university, we had a prayer group. We had started a youth group there. A lot of my friends that I had met in university, Christian or not, the ones who weren't actually became Christians.
Oh, wow.
And I just, I think I allowed myself to begin an organic relationship with God that was outside of community, but with community. And
I like that.
It really strengthened, I would say, between my youth days and that season of my life where I had to seek God and actually start building a relationship with God that is Tsitsi and God and not Tsitsi and the church and Christ. I think that's probably what has taken me to where I am today.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And
I think that's a powerful testament and encouragement to the young people. It is possible.
It is.
You don't have to compromise.
It is possible. But you know what's amazing, though, is the Bible really talks about train up a child in the way they should go. And when they're older, they will not depart from it. And I think the community is so important because I actually didn't know how much I had inside me.
Oh, wow.
I just needed to rediscover it. Just rediscover it by myself.
So your roots were deep.
The roots were very deep.
Christian home and so forth. That really helped.
But I was in a bubble. And, you know, the moment I started reigniting that relationship from a personal perspective, I actually realized that I was so full. I was actually so full. And it was in there. And the Holy Spirit actually speaks to you. God does speak to you, whether it's in pictures, whether it's through people that you meet, strangers. The grace is always there. Like my whole journey in life is literally grace. And I think I was actually thinking about it yesterday, that how I got into media.
Oh, yes. Tell us about that. Exciting area. It just, you know, when we hear media, we're like, wow, this is just a world we'd love to be a part of. Tell us.
So, funny story.
Sorry, just to go back. Wait, what did you study at university? Did you do media?
Yes, I did media. I did media. I studied media and public relations.
Oh, beautiful combination.
Yeah. So, so my dad's an artist. Complete artist. He's a creative.
Maybe that's where it comes from.
That's partly where it comes from, definitely. My mom is into finance. She's chartered secretary, stockbroker. So she's and then my dad is.
Oh, wow. That's a wonderful combination.
It is. It really is. So I guess growing up, I always had an inclination to the creative arts.
Really?
And I think also because of the church that we go to.
Yeah, it's a natural fit.
It's a natural fit. So I used to dance and...
Oh, you used to dance?
I used to dance. Wow. I thought I would dance for the rest of my life,
Like, what did you do? Like ballet or what?
I did everything. I did ballet. I did a lot of gymnastics. And then in my teenage years, I got into contemporary dancing and the whole...
Nice. So you thought you were going to be a dancer? Then
no, I wanted to study dance. I was so
Why didn't you do that?
So when I was trying to get into university, I think my mom noticed that this girl's trying to get into the creative arts. So I had applied to different places, and that is exactly what I was going to do. And being the firstborn, being the only girl, My dad was the type of guy who'd be like, he's just like, do whatever you want. My mom is like, you need
to be like that, you know that. Exactly. They're very like liberal.
Exactly. And my mom is more like, okay, let's look at the future.
Yeah, more structured.
More.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
a combination.
I had gotten a place in Cape Town, and at the time that I finished school, Zimbabwe was not doing so well. So I definitely was not going to be able to go overseas or anything like that. And there was nothing in Zimbabwe really at that time
for those kind of things.
For that kind of those kind of things. And the only people we knew, actually, there was a few dance groups, one in Bulawayo, one in Harare. And I was trying to get into the main dance industry within Harare. But it wasn't really on the education side. It was just more.
Okay.
So I had a little stint doing contemporary dance here while I was waiting to go to university. But while I was waiting, my mom actually got me to study. So I did web design during my gap year, and I was also serving at church during that time. And then my mom just one morning is just like, okay, I've got a cousin who lives in Botswana, but she grew up with my mom. They're almost the same age. So my mom's like, okay, her daughters are my age. It's like, they got places there. Why don't you try and get a place there? I'm like, I don't really want to go to Botswana, but she was actually managing me.
And was that for dance though? Was that for dance?
No, there was no dance there. There was no media at the time that I applied.
Okay.
So I had to really think through what I wanted to do. And so you were given 5 options. And I thought maybe if I become an architect.
Oh, that's different.
It's
from what you wanted.
Kind of like creative.
It is, because you have to design things. In a way, it is creative. Yeah.
And I didn't have any other choice, to be honest. She's like, this is the school that you're going to go to. You'll be staying with your cousin. And we can manage it together. So I think you could choose 5. So I chose 3 architecture, 1 industrial design, and then those were the options. And then the last one was accounts, obviously chosen by my mom.
And definitely not you.
Definitely not me. So I go to university, and while I'm there, because of finances, I got there quite late. And so I think I got there on the last day of registration. And what they say to me was, for the 4 things that you had put as your options, which were all related to architecture, industrial design, we only take 10% of foreign students. And those spots have been filled.
Oh.
So you either choose something else for a year, or you take accounts. I remember calling my friend and thinking, oh, no. So what they then said, and they were like, we do have a new program, and it's called Media Studies.
Really?
So,
oh, wow, that was God sent.
Yeah, and they were like, the spots are not filled. If you want to take that, you can do it for 1 year, and then go back to architecture. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, what is media studies?
Oh, yeah. How do you define
it? So I found a friend of mine who was in the UK at the time, and I'm like, yeah, there's this thing called media studies. They're saying, and my friend was like, you need to take that.
That's the one for you.
They were like, if you do accounts, he's like, and you want to go overseas, there's so many people doing that.
Yeah.
But this is an emerging industry.
Yeah.
And you're a woman, you'll probably be one of the first to actually have this. So it would be a good idea for you to do that. So I didn't phone my mom. I went and signed and enrolled for that. I
should have said
told
take
her
accounts.
A few days later. Her response was, no, it's a DJ.
DJ. I like that. Media equals DJ.
I mean, that's what we knew here.
I know. DJ.
So fast forward.
But you'd already signed up.
I signed up. But what was amazing is, I think because of the structure of the country in Botswana and how peaceful it is, and because this was a very new thing, our lecturers, some of them would come and go, but some of our lecturers were, I think, the gentleman who taught us for the first 2 years in cinematography and filming was actually one of the founding staff members of CNN.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my!
So we literally
Wow.
I think in terms of training had the top of the top.
Definitely.
How
exciting.
And we had people from the BBC come and go. We had it was quite amazing.
So I'm sure after the 1 year you obviously continued.
I was not going back.
Wow, that's exciting.
I loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved being hands-on. I loved being behind the camera.
Thank goodness for a wise friend. Wise counsel.
True. That is very true.
Very important.
And that friend of mine was actually doing IT at the time, but ended up being one of, I guess, kind of like a famous photographer. Also kind of pivoted into media, which is amazing. But so I then, when I reflect back, when I was a child, I think I was probably 9 or 10 at the time. I remember going for a prayer meeting with my mom. She would drag me everywhere. I went for a prayer meeting. I remember there's a man who would prophesy, and he like was walking around and praying for everyone, and then he just held my head, and he was like, I can sense God calling you into the creative arts. You're going to be a journalist. You're going to tell people stories. You're going to tell stories like stories of the church. You're going to tell the story of Pastor Bonnie. You're going to tell stories.
Wow. And I'm wondering, I would love to have seen your mom's face.
I don't think anyone took it seriously. At 9, you're like, journalist. I didn't even know probably what a journalist was at the time. But when you look back, I'm like, the way God does things is so, the Bible says he's the beginning and the end.
Amen to that.
At 9, the Lord knew that
He knew.
I would be in this space.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that I would be in this space.
And he knew why he had allowed you to live.
He knew why he had allowed me to live. And so I think probably years later, after my mother got over me being a DJ, she reminded me.
After your graduation.
After my graduation.
So you probably didn't remember about that when you were 9 and 10 as well, because it's also quite far back.
When she started telling me, the man himself was one of those, he was over the top. So I did remember I remembered him holding my
and like
head and but yeah, I'm actually amazed at the Lord and how there's been so many moments like that in my life.
And you wanted to tell us now about how you got into media.
Yes.
And then we went back a little bit to university, so you can tell us about that.
Okay, so that's how I actually got into the media space. Okay. When I was there in university, we then actually started media clubs in the university. When I came back here, I got an opportunity to actually serve in the church, and we had almost, I think, the best equipment at the time. Because we were using similar equipment in school, I actually started. I remember Pastor Tom would always say, you should come back and serve. And I kept thinking, no, I'm going overseas.
You had other plans.
Not coming back to serve. But they really opened their doors to me. And in terms of experience, I got quite a lot of experience, even through relationships within the church. I worked with Gary Thompson and Associates. So this is the thing, when I would come during the holiday, every time I would get back into Zimbabwe, my mom would have a job for me. And that was not fun.
Her.
Because
that was so great, man.
I think she was so nervous. I think she was like,
what is she going to do when she comes
back? My
back?
child and this thing that she's trying to do.
Oh, that was good of her.
Yeah, and the thing is, with my dad being a creative, his income was not consistent. So I think because of that, she was always
a bit nervous about the space you had chosen.
About the space I had chosen. So I worked every holiday.
What kind of jobs were you doing?
I worked at the church. I worked for a company called Mega Video.
Okay. Media companies, all of this. So she found something in the space you wanted.
Her time calling friends, doing direct calls to these places and just asking them if they could take me during the holiday. I worked at Financial Gazette. That was the hardest.
Oh,
yeah. FinGaz.
Okay.
Yes, I worked at FinGaz. I was writing. I wrote, I wrote 2 front page articles while I was there.
So you're also a writer? Yeah, I think so. If you could do that, that's probably a gifting
Maybe I
that's
don't
latent.
like it.
But it sounds like something that you're good at or you can do.
Yeah, maybe I don't
like
like
storytelling
it.
in that way as well.
Yeah, and then I worked at Gary Thompson and Associates as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I did quite a lot of stuff. I mean, that
Good exposure.
it was really good exposure, and in hindsight, that really helped me on my career path. That's where I met my husband, actually, at Gary Thompson and Associates. So we did so many things. I think I was I was one of the production assistants for A Academy. I don't know if you...
I remember that, yeah.
Yes, for I think 3 seasons or 2 seasons of that. I worked on quite a number of TV shows there. And then, I came back. I served for 2 years without pay at the Celebration
Just getting
Center.
experience at least.
It was hard. It was a lot of experience. And then eventually, a few years after that, we started C Media.
Oh, wow.
And I haven't turned back since. It's been a fun ride.
That is so powerful.
Yeah.
I like the way everything is like interconnected and the
so
dots are connected.
interconnected,
And I'm thinking about the way your mom looked for these jobs.
Yes.
And you ended up working somewhere where you met your husband. That's destiny.
Yes, it is
and
destiny.
no one could have known that, but God knew what he was doing.
No one could have known that. Yeah, that's very
wow.
true.
That
That's
is so
very
amazing.
true. I mean, it's been a lot of pioneering as well, especially being a woman in a space that's male dominated, because a lot of women, when I was growing up, were not behind the camera. They were always in front of the camera.
That's interesting. That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah. So
that's
even when I
true.
was in school, when we'd be put in groups, they'd be like, okay, you girls, you're the ones that are acting, you're the ones. And I'm like, no, I'm going to hold the camera. I'm going to be in the back.
So you can actually film and direct and produce.
I
What does your work entail?
So at the moment, I'm doing more producing than anything, by accident, actually. I see myself as a techie. So I guess that's why I'm also kind of like in the drone space and tech space. I love technology. I love, so I always loved just playing around with the cameras, playing around with editing. I actually loved animation. I'd gotten, I thought I would do more animation. I'd actually gotten a scholarship, but
to produce? Okay.
To actually create.
Oh, wow.
I'd gotten a scholarship to further my studies on that side, but we couldn't figure it out financially for me to go. But so I as part of the teams that I'd work with, I would always be on camera.
Oh, wow.
And then I got pregnant with my firstborn, with my son. And everyone else is like, okay, she needs to calm down. And no, I'm not calming down. But the body would not let me. The body wouldn't let me continue carrying heavy equipment and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like a test again.
Yeah.
That was, for me, that took me back into that little hole of, you're so used to doing certain things. You've built yourself a certain way. And I honestly, I was one of those who I will compete with the boys. Whatever you can do, I can do. If you can carry pelican, they call them pelican bags, these big heavy equipment bags, I can also carry. I can, and at some point I just couldn't do it.
You couldn't do it.
I just couldn't do it. And it was really, really hard for me. And I remember the boss I had at the time was like, why don't you explore the other side of your of what you do, which is more public relations, which is,
oh yes,
why don't you try client relations? And I didn't even like hearing them say that to me, because I felt that I could still try and do the long hours. I could still try and, but the body was not having it. So eventually I think halfway through my pregnancy, I did try out something different, the PR, the client relations. And this is a crazy thing. So my mom is into finance. And when I was growing up, being the firstborn, she used to get me to help her to balance her books. And she'd be like, okay, can you read those numbers for me again? It's not balancing. Okay, can you come? You sit this side, I'll sit that side. And then, I would work with her. But it was boring, but there was nothing else I could do. So through all of that, being a part of the team, I think when they started trying to build the actual business, the C Media business, I was one of the only people in the team who was trained in media. So I think they actually took a chance on me. But one of the things for me to get into management, one of the prerequisites was figuring out the financial side of things.
And you had been trained in that?
I didn't know I was trained in it. I didn't know I was trained in it. So we actually had, the person who was doing our finance at the time actually stole some money from us, and I was responsible. I was the person responsible for the team in that season. And I remember feeling like, how did I not see this?
Yeah.
And it's because part of me always gravitated towards the production tech side.
And that's what you were focusing
just managing
on.
that.
Yeah.
And that's what I was focusing on. I never focused on the financial side. And then I think I started realizing that in order for a business to fully operate, everything has to, all the pieces have to be together. And I really thank God for Pastor Tommy, who was kind of leading C Media at the time. And he was very good on the financial side. And he had a balance of both. And he would be like, let's look into this. I think we can do it by ourselves. And I'm thinking, I actually don't understand finance and whatever. Yeah. But I realized that some of the things that I was being trained in actually came so naturally to me. I did have to go and study a little bit of finance,
bookkeeping,
just
that
bookkeeping,
kind of thing.
Even just project management, etc., executive. I think I did an executive development program as well with the UZ. But it actually came so naturally to me. And admin, managing people, connecting with people comes so naturally for me. Yeah. So I remember someone saying to me, hey, do you know that's actually producing? You're a producer. And you're a natural producer. You can do line producing. You can do creative producing. Why don't you actually start doing that intentionally? And initially, I'm like, no. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back and be behind the camera and lift those bags. But now that I have 4 kids, obviously, that was 10 years of pregnancy. There is no way and I actually started enjoying that. I started enjoying connecting with people and bringing productions together. Yeah.
It's amazing how people would either give you wise counsel or see something in you. I'm seeing a pattern there, and that's just true. It's important.
It is.
Surround yourself with people who can speak into your life, or who can say, why don't you try this? Or you might be good at this. And I see that in your life, and that's so powerful.
Yeah, that is so
powerful.
That is true. So I think during COVID, my friend, the one who encouraged me to actually do media, I know he would call me all the time, hey, please, can you help me with the product? I was like, no. And honestly, the work that we were doing was so hectic. There was no way I could have done anything else. But during COVID, we had a lot of time, and he was working on a documentary for people with albinism. And he was like, please, can you do a coffee with me? Because I'm at my wit's end. And someone was telling me you produce. And I'm just like, yeah, kind of. But, so we met, kind of showed me what he was trying to do. And he's like, would you like to... And I remember going to my pastor and saying, someone has asked me to help with this. Do you think I should go for it? And he actually said, you know what, try and see what God will do.
To produce, was this in production?
To produce, actually.
Yeah.
So I remember him praying for me and speaking some crazy words over me. And I think it took us 3 years to work on that documentary because it was during COVID. And crazy enough, when we were done, that documentary actually started doing so well. We started winning awards. I started traveling.
I've seen that. I saw it somewhere. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it was...
well done.
It was an advocacy piece for people with albinism, but we did it in such a creative way. We made it poetic. We had dance in there and all sorts. So I think we tried to make it as different as possible. And it did very, 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 very well. Wow. And I remember sitting back and thinking, oh, okay.
I could do more of this.
I can actually actually do more of this.
Wow.
I remember I think
That was a confirmation.
it was such a confirmation, but it was also such healing, because just before COVID, things were so hard for our business, and a lot of people started leaving the country. We were not. And I remember thinking to myself, am I really in the right space? Am I really doing...
This is when you were at C Media.
Which I still am, but things were just hard. Zimbabwe can be very hard. And what normally happens, is when things are hard in the country, marketing budgets are sometimes the first things that get cut.
They'll be like, we're sticking to our core business.
Which means the things that we do are not as sustainable as, you know, so that it was a really hard period. And, you know, it was crazy. But I think for me, that was God just saying, you're in the right place. You're doing the right thing. And I think one of my colleagues actually then went into the aviation space at that time. And he kept saying, you know what, you've got such a gift in strategic management, in just bringing people together. Please, can you help me with this?
There you go again. Someone saw something in you. Yes, you've been very blessed with people like that in your life.
That is so true. I'm actually really grateful for
that.
This
is now aviation.
This is now aviation, yeah. So one thing I did learn in the aviation space, we've traveled a lot and met so many different people in this space, is one of the things they say is the sky is not the limit, reach for the stars.
I like that. Because people always say reach for the sky, and you're like, no?
No.
That's the launching pad.
That's the launching pad, exactly. I love that.
Yeah.
So I remember it was all happening within the same season. And I remember thinking to myself, actually, the sky is not the limit. Yeah. And I remember I kept saying to him, you know what, I can help you with this aviation thing, but it's temporary. I'm going to go back to what I normally do.
And what is aviation? I mean, what does it involve? Like, this kind of a new area also for Zimbabwe, is it not? Not anymore.
Not really. I think,
what is it involving? We just think of aeroplanes and that kind of thing, and airlines. That's all we kind of know, us as lay people.
Exactly. I think the drone space is fairly new. It's probably almost 10 years old now.
Okay. In Zimbabwe?
In the world.
In the world.
In the world, imagine that. Yeah. In the world. But the aviation space has always been there, but very closed.
Okay.
Very, very closed. Like and we only know about pilots. We don't really know about everything else that's aviation related. Yeah. And so part of the education we do is to actually train children that there's so many things you can do within aviation. You can be in media and be in aviation. You can be...
Can you study aviation? Is there a course or a degree or a diploma? Not even a degree, but something you can do.
There's so many different facets of it. You can be in air traffic control. Those are the people that actually facilitate for planes not to crash into each other.
Very important. Like, but I'm sure also they help with technology as well. Hey?
Yes, that's in layman's language. But there's so many things. But I think what I learned in that space is when you speak to a lot of them, they don't just do one thing.
Okay.
I think something about being up there in the sky just shows you that, you know, the way God created us is not so linear. And I think if I had known what I know now back then, I would have done so much. And that you can literally, like you, be a television presenter and also be in the medical space. And, you know, and I think even me having children, I'm starting to speak to them that, you know what, you know, God does not limit you. You can actually do more than one thing. Yeah, when you speak to my daughter, she'll tell you, I want to be an air traffic controller, but I also want to be a chef, and I also want to be, she wants to be a worshiper, and she also wants to do fashion.
And she can do all those
things. No one is stopping you. When we grew up, it what do you want to be? I want to be a doctor, and that is the one thing that you're going for. But God has given us so much, and only in my 40s am I realizing actually I can be in media and I can be in aviation and I can be a mom.
yes, because being a mom is a full-time thing as well.
It's a full-time job.
I love what you're saying, because we've always thought of, even people ask you your purpose, you always think like, I have to articulate it in once, I have to say I'm called to do this. But God says it can be multifaceted. Your purpose is multifaceted because you're in different spaces.
Yes, I remember I was speaking. I was in on a panel with Joe Mtizwa, and someone was actually asking him about purpose. And I think he says in his 50s actually went back to school to study. And he started saying, and I loved what he said. He said, there's different life cycles that you go through. And he's like, there's a life cycle when you are a child and you're dreaming about something, and then you get into a life cycle where you are a teenager, and then you're in university, you are now studying to be something else. And then you become a husband or a wife. That's a different life cycle. You become a parent, you navigate life through those life cycles, and there's sometimes different purposes in the different life cycles that you're going through, and you have to accept that. And with each life cycle, God is teaching you something, and you have to embrace.
That's a beautiful way of putting it, life cycles. Wow.
Life cycles. And in this season, I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm embracing the different life cycles that you're taking me through and the experiences that you've brought me through that. And I think in that, one of my really big passions at the moment, and that I've just felt God take me through, is in the area of just being there for other people. Whether it be in mentorship, whether it be in just speaking to someone or encouraging someone, or being that which, like you're saying,
like a destiny
people
helper.
have been for me. Because for some of us, there's certain things we've had to push through to get to where we're at, but other people don't have to push through those things if you have. And I've really tried to be intentional about it. I mean,
I love that.
Time willing, I really try to be intentional with everyone that I meet or spend time with, to say, okay, what can I actually give from what I've learned or what I have access to? And I think I really believe God would have us do that. Outside all the monies and the perks and everything that we need to survive, I think in life we all need each other. We can be the grace.
We can. Oh, I like that. We
the
can
grace
be the
extended. Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. What God has been to us, He can work through us.
He can work
and
through
reach other
us.
people through us. That's really powerful.
And I mean I guess that's how God would have it. He put people on earth to actually.
Those are His hands and feet.
Yeah, His hands and feet. So it's been a fun ride.
Wow, that's amazing. Maybe as we wind off, I just wanted to ask. So as you've told us about your challenges at university in the aviation space and even in media, have you found any challenges that you'd like to highlight, especially as a Christian, from that perspective, or even in general? Just any challenges here and there, the ones that you'd like to highlight. Anything at all you might say is a challenge, but still go for it.
That's a hard question.
I know one of the obvious ones, but I'm hoping that's becoming less and less, is that a lot of these areas are male dominated, or they have traditionally been.
Yes.
So you gotta kind of like, I don't know whether you want to say work twice as hard, but push through, but it's improving.
It is improving. Ish. Honestly, there's so many challenges. I think also being this side of Africa, technology takes quite a long time to actually
down to us.
And I guess because of the internet, it's quicker. Yeah. But the acceptance is not as quick.
Oh, the acceptance.
Yes. Okay. And you'll notice in our country, I would say the big companies are still managed by older people. Okay. So getting that technology to get into the right faces, the embracing, can be really hard. And I think it's a constant walk. And I guess that's why I've always really, really been open to helping and to also just be on the front of pushing. One of the things that we did, we traveled with different organizations in the aviation space, doing trainings in different countries, and we realized that there was a what they call women in aviation, and there were chapters in different countries, but there weren't any in Zimbabwe. So we actually came back and started one in Zimbabwe. Wonderful. But in that, it was so pro women. So when we were out there, it was like, no, only girls can come to this. We're like only inviting girls. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, now. With my mom hat, I'm thinking, so what happens to the boys?
If my son wants to go into aviation, it's like, it has to be balanced.
It has to be balanced. So I have had challenges as a woman. I still do. Okay. In the industry. I've seen it in the industry, even for you to become a pilot as a woman, outside of just the cost.
Yeah.
It's so hard. What's even harder is I've met women who are amazing engineers, aircraft engineers.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that, engineers, yeah.
But carrying, I mean, I try to carry this part of a helicopter. Oh. And the one lady is like, I carry them every day, and if I don't, I may lose my job.
It'll be like, she's not up.
You're not up for it. And it's crazy. It's real. Our bodies are not the same way.
Yeah,
they're not built the same way men's bodies
so, yeah,
are.
That can be challenging.
So there's challenges. There's some of them we can push through. Some of them, I mean, if your body is not like
you're a tiny little person, how are you going to carry that part?
But I think access is important for everyone. And I think just, let me say this. I had a moment the other day. We were driving home. I was with my mom and my aunt, and we're driving from a funeral. And the area I live in, fairly quiet area. Mm-hmm. And I remember we driving home. My aunt is a pastor. My mom's also a pastor. And I'm sitting in the back seat, and we're driving through the area that we live in to drop my aunt off. And it was around 11:30 p.m. And then you had prostitutes on the side of the road, and they kept coming to the car. You realize it's women, and then they would, but I remember the conversation just started in the car, and they just, as you would know, it was very, not to say my mom and my aunt were bad, but it was very judgmental in a way. Mm-hmm. So they were just like, now we have prostitutes on these roads. This used to be a quiet neighborhood. You can't have prostitutes here. You know, my husband and I will go out. We'll start speaking to them. And there was it was a righteous anger. Mm. And I remember sitting in the back, and initially I jumped into the conversation. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, yeah. And I remember the Holy Spirit completely arresting me in that moment. And I felt the Lord say to me, you could be that person if it wasn't for the grace of God. You did not choose to be Tsitsi. You did not choose to be where. There's nowhere where I signed a paper and said, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be born in this house. Yeah. I'd be. It's literally the grace of God.
It
because I could be anyone. I could be dead, actually.
Yeah, you could be from, like dead. When you tell the story of when you were sick, you could be dead.
If it wasn't for the grace of God. And as we were talking that we are the hands and the feet, I think God started working on my heart in that season. I actually just started crying in the back, and I don't think my mom and my aunt noticed. I just felt this. It just hit me that if we aren't the ones that extend grace to those people, who else do they have?
If not me, then who? And when?
Thank you. And so even in that conversation of it's so hard being a woman in a male-dominated space, yes, it really, really, really is. I have gone through it in the 20-something years I've been in media, and in the 6 years I've been in aviation. Sometimes you have to really, really push just to be heard, just to get into the space. But when I take a step back and I look at that grace side, I realize that we just need to be cognizant of everyone. Yes. Just have a heart. Yeah. Be gracious.
Be gracious.
Whether male or female, there is a season where I'll be like, I'm only going to hire ladies because I want to. But if there's a gentleman sitting in front of me and they are the right fit for the job, they shouldn't be prejudiced just because they're a gentleman.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think opening my heart, taking that cap of judgment off, and has really, really helped me. I mean, I'm not perfect. I still have moments where I'm like, But I think grace extended is so important in our lives. And
it is, absolutely.
Being the person who can hold someone's hand, no matter the gender or who they are or what discipline they come from or where they are coming from. Mm-hmm. I think it's us being the face of God to those people. So, I've had challenges, but I think I'm trying to change my perspective the way I interpret how I work with people and how I talk to people, and
being intentional.
Hopefully that intentionality allows me, even if I'm touching one person, and helping them navigate the challenges that I had without prejudice. I think,
wow,
it's important.
So
it was a hard question. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Oh my gosh, you answered it so beautifully and so
thank you.
Relatably, if there's such a word.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will be able to relate to a lot of what you're saying, male or female. But now we're going to wrap up, but we want to ask you maybe if you've got any take-home message for people out there, or anything, any area, grace, extended, or aviation, or going into media, or just, you know, finding your feet, finding your purpose, anything at all, any angle you'd like to say to people just before you go, last words, like.
I guess for me, I would say maybe just that God's grace is sufficient. It's so sufficient. I could literally sit here and tell a whole story about how I've just seen God be gracious in my life in so many things. I mean, my mom having cancer, I battled with my son being sick for 2 years and we didn't know what it was. My brother being arrested. It's crazy. It's so crazy. But through it all, you can literally see the hand of God. And no matter where you are, no matter what you're feeling, no matter how dark it seems to be, there's always a light, and that light is God. And sometimes it's opening your heart up for people to be able to direct you or to talk to you, because His grace is sufficient. He is so gracious, and He knows us so intently. If He could know that I would be in the media space at such a young age and literally save my life, He can save anyone. So I really do, I think my word would be that the Lord's grace is sufficient.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I think it's a reminder to all of us, because sometimes it's like you know it, but you need to hear it. So thank you. Thank you for reminding us.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you for your time.
Me.
Yeah, I need to give you a hug. Thank you so much. It's okay, even if you're ahead. Thank you so much. That was such a powerful testimony. And I think a lot of people are going to take a lot of things from it. So thank you once again for coming and making the time.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you everyone for watching till the end. Please do share this video with other people, and remember to like and to comment. And we want you to be part of the family, so do subscribe. See you next time. Bye-bye.